In the first part of Tangled Web, Ivy, committed to Wale, her partner, and mother of their 3 children, experiences loneliness while Wale works in Germany. During this time, she develops romantic feelings for Femi and becomes pregnant by him. To her surprise, Ivy later discovers that Femi is Wale's brother. Enjoy the concluding part of Tangled Web. Ivy's world spun. Your brother, as in your brother, she said again. Femi nodded, oblivious to Ivy's inner turmoil. Yes, that's Adi Wale. He and his family live in Germany. Concern flickered in his eyes as he noticed the look on Ivy's face. Are you all right, Ivy? You look like you've seen a ghost. A sinking feeling settled in her stomach as Ivy grappled with the shocking revelation of Wale's double life. In her pursuit of love, she had inadvertently betrayed Femi, the man who had shown her unwavering love and devotion. With her heart heavy and her mind in turmoil, Ivy stumbled out of Femi's house, the weight of her actions crushing her spirit. Barely registering Femi's concerned voice, she retreated into the street, lost in a whirlwind of emotions, her vision blurred by tears of anger and heartbreak. With shaking hands, she booked an Uber, desperate to escape the suffocating reality of her situation. She turned around and saw Femi standing there, looking confused. Ivy, tell me what is going on. I don't understand what is going on. Ivy broke down in his arms and cried until the Uber arrived. As the car carried her through the city streets, hot tears streamed down her face, a physical manifestation of the turmoil that raged within her. Betrayal, guilt, and self-loathing battled for dominance in her heart. How could she have been so selfish, so blind to the consequences of her own choices? Femi had trusted her, had given her his heart without reservation, and she had repaid him with deceit and betrayal. On the other hand, how could Wale have lied to her for so long? All those times he claimed to be working late, all those missed birthdays and holidays, it had all been a facade. The man she thought she knew, the man she had built a life with, was nothing more than a stranger wearing a familiar face. In the days that followed, Ivy found herself spiraling deeper into despair. The pain of Wale's long-standing deception was like a knife twisting in her gut, but the knowledge of her actions truly haunted her. She had become the very thing she despised, a liar and a cheat, hurting the people she claimed to love. She could not bear to speak to Femi. He had left tons of unread messages and had been blowing up her phone with unanswered calls. With a heavy heart, Ivy reached out to Femi. They agreed to meet in a quiet cafe, a few minutes from her flat. Ivy's entire body trembled as she pushed open the door to the cafe, the bell above the entrance sounding like a death knell. She spotted Femi immediately, hunched over a table in the far corner, his head in his hands. Each step towards him felt like a knife twisting in her gut, the weight of her betrayal threatening to crush her. As she reached the table, Femi looked up, his once warm brown eyes now hollow and filled with anguish. Why, Ivy, he whispered, his voice broken and raw. Why did you do this to me? To us? My brother? Femi, I'm so sorry, she choked, I never meant for any of this to happen. I was weak and scared, and I made a terrible mistake. How was I to know he was your brother? A mistake. Ivy, you ripped my heart out and shattered it into a million pieces. You let me believe in a love that was a lie. Tears streamed down Ivy's face, her chest heaving with the force of her sobs. It wasn't a lie, Femi. I do love you. I love you more than I ever thought possible. But not enough to tell me the truth, Femi countered, his voice sharp and cutting. Not enough to choose me, to choose our love over your secrets and lies. Did you even think about your 3 children, did you? Ivy shook her head, despair clawing at her heart. Femi, please, I know I've hurt you in the worst possible way, but I'm begging you, don't leave me. Don't leave our baby. At the mention of their unborn child, Femi's face crumpled, a single tear escaping down his cheek. I would do anything for our child, Ivy. But I can't do this. I can't look at you every day and see the woman who broke my heart and shattered my trust and faith in love. He stood up, his chair clattering to the floor behind him. I'll be there for our child, Ivy. But I can't be there for you. Not now, not ever. Ivy's heart shattered, the pieces scattering like dust in the wind. Femi, please, she sobbed, her voice barely above a whisper. I can't live without you. Femi closed his eyes, his jaw clenching as if fighting back his tears. "You should have thought of that while you were destroying my life, your life, my brother's life, your kid's life before you destroyed everything we had, Ivy. Before you chose your lies over our love." With that, he turned and walked away, his shoulders shaking with the force of his grief. Ivy watched him go, her heart shattering with every step he took. She doubled over, her arms wrapped around her stomach as sobs racked her body, the pain of her loss threatening to consume her entirely. She had thrown away the one true love of her life, the man who had seen past her flaws and loved her unconditionally. And now, she would have to find a way to live with the consequences of her actions, to raise their child alone, forever haunted by the ghost of what could have been. More drama was about to unfold as Wale was due back home that weekend. Ivy's hands shook as she clenched the photograph of Wale and his secret family. The front door opened, and Wale walked in with a weary smile and his suitcase in hand. "Ivy, my love, I'm home." "Don't you dare!" Ivy screamed, hurling the picture frame at him. It shattered against the wall, just inches from his head. "Don't you dare call me your love. You lying, cheating bastard." Wale was surprised. "Ivy, what is going on?" "I know everything," she shouted, her voice raw with pain and fury. "I know about your other family in Germany. I know about the life you've been living while I've been here, waiting for you like a fool. How did you find out?" "It doesn't matter how I found out," her eyes blazing with the fire of betrayal. "What matters is that you lied to me, you looked me in the eye, lied to me every time you left, and said you loved me. Please, let me explain." "Explain what?" "How you've been playing happy families with another woman. You married her, my goodness, you are a married man." Tears streamed down Ivy's face, her body shaking with the force of her sobs. "I loved you, Wale. I trusted you. And you betrayed me in the worst possible way." His eyes filled with tears. "Ivy, I'm sorry. I never meant for this to happen. I was weak, and I made a terrible mistake, but I never stopped loving you." A harsh laugh tore from Ivy's throat. "Mistake? What part of it was a mistake? Is it the part where you got engaged to another woman, you planned a wedding and married her, or is it the part where she had your first child and then your second child? I don't understand. How many mistakes did you make? How many? You have 5 children. You don't know the meaning of the word mistake. If you loved me and our children, you never would have done this." She took a deep breath, her voice dropping to a deadly whisper. "I want you out of this house. I want you out of our lives. I never want to see your lying face again. Ivy, please, don't do this. We can work through this. We can talk about it. There is no we anymore, Wale. You made sure of that when you married another woman." She turned away, her heart shattering even as her resolve hardened. "Leave your keys on the table and get out now." As she walked towards the bedroom, Ivy knew the road ahead would be hard. She knew she would have to find a way to pick up the pieces of her shattered life and mend her broken heart. She would survive this and survive for herself and her children. Maybe, just maybe, she would find a way to forgive herself for her own mistakes and build a life of truth and honesty from the ashes of betrayal. She took a deep breath and paused. She looked at him and said calmly, "I am going into the bedroom. Make sure you are gone before I come out." She turned around, walked to the bedroom door, and paused just as her hand was on the handle. She turned to Wale, who was still standing in the same spot with tears streaming down his face. "Ede Wale," she said calmly, "by the way, I am pregnant for Femi, your brother." She pushed the door open and shut it behind her. I hope you enjoyed this concluding part. What do you think? What part shocked you the most? Don't forget to subscribe and watch other stories on this channel as we build our catalog of stories.